How long you been on the streets?
Less than most.
And how long you been using?
What's up, everybody? This is Fred Richani. We have right here via Zoom a very special guest. He is a two-time WWE NXT champion. He's a WWE superstar. And now he's adding two other job titles to his already impressive resume. Actor and producer of the independent short film Blue Evening, playing at the Pasadena International Film Festival. We are talking to the great Karrion Kross, a.k.a. Kevin Robert Kesar. Kevin, thank you so much for the time. How's everything going?
Very good. Thank you for that very long, massive introduction with all these accolades. It's actually like, it's a little awkward here now. Like, holy cow, I am doing all of that. That's nuts.
But you are just coming off of a European tour. At the time we're recording this, you're on the road to WrestleMania. Just came back from London. You also did a great benefit show for your good friend Chris Bey. Shout out to him. So how's your body and mind feeling right now?
Really good. The benefit show, aside from everything that we were able to collect monetarily for Chris's recovery, aside from that being like off the charts, it was really good to be back out there and performing in front of the audience. I'm pretty sure that was the first match I had this year in 2025. And I told the promoter when he said he wanted to put us on main event, he said, how much time do you need? And I just said, I don't want to have a time limit. He's like, how long are you going to go? And I said, I don't know, but it's probably definitely going to be probably over 20 or 30 minutes. I just want to go out there and I want to feel this audience. I would have never thought of it this way when I first got started in wrestling 11 years ago, but it's such a privilege to be able to stay out there and just be able to maestro the audience and take them on that ride. I really, really missed having those longer format matches, and to be able to do that for Chris, even better. It was such a joy to be out there and do it. And I feel very good, man. And I also got to wrestle live in London on a main event. And that was awesome being in front of those people. And I know, like a lot of guys, not saying any names, not throwing any shade, but sometimes they feel a particular way if they're not on the main show and they're on main event. For me, and I know that Tozawa is the exact same way, it doesn't matter what the name of the show is. It's about the people that are there live, and it's about giving them a piece of the greatest show on earth that they came to see. He thinks like that, I think like that, and we went out there and we rocked the house, and it was awesome to be in front of that many people performing, especially in London. It was a really hot crowd, lots of families in the audience. So
that's awesome, man. Yeah, and I love to hear it. And that's crazy. I didn't even think about that. So you've in total up to this point have had only like what, 2-3 matches so far?
Oh no, I think I've had one now. I think I've had one this year.
Wow,
and two counting future stars of wrestling.
Wow, that is wild. But what's funny is it doesn't seem like that because you're on the shows every week, whether you're sneaking around AJ or concocting something or cutting a promo on Twitter and everything. So you seem like you're kind of the embodiment of maximizing your minutes no matter what the role is.
That's the name of the game, man. It's obviously being out there in the ring in front of the audience performing is always where you want to be for as long as possible. But you can never forget, like, it's imperative to remember that it is a TV show. And being involved in narratives and stories actually make the matches feel even more important. So just like you said, every week I'm on TV doing something, whether it's with Jackie or it's a backstage AJ or Logan or Sammy or Dominic, there's always something going on, and always happy to be able to have that,
Yeah, you're doing some fantastic work. We'll get back to the wrestling thing in a bit, but you added 2 new job titles to your already impressive resume, actor and producer of the short film Blue Evening, playing at the Pasadena Film Festival. Can you talk a little bit about that? First off, how did you find the time to get involved with this project in the first place when you're on the road, and how did this all come about?
It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy blocking out the time between the tours, between formerly the house show schedule that we had before things changed up a little bit. I got a script from a very good friend of mine. His name is Jet Jansen. He's the writer and the director of the film. A brilliant guy. He's involved with a lot of different things. You could check him out on IMDb. He presented it to me, and I wanted to bring it to life. I said, let's do this, is basically what I said. So we were able to find the time. With Screen Actors Guild, we shot it in a week, and it's a short for anyone who's not aware of that. And yeah, we did our absolute best to get it edited on the post-production process as quickly as possible, which is not a quick process. If you've ever, for anyone out there who's involved with film or ever produced anything, but I'm glad we took our time with it and didn't rush it, because I'm very happy with what we have right now. And the test watchers of the film were blown away by it. So, and that's what we want.
And not only are you a producer, as I said, you're an actor in the film as well. Given your schedule and everything, was there a lot of pressure to make sure you hit the right notes, so to speak, on screen, or did you block out some time in that busy schedule to be able to be like, okay, really get a feel for this character and not feel like I'm being rushed and get this done in a day?
With the help of everybody on board, all hands on deck with the film, we were able to chart a course for me to basically between TV shows, between Raw and the next Raw, or any house shows or overseas tours. We just charted a time for me to be able to fly in and float over the entire process of what everyone's doing on set, so I could learn as much as possible too. And I didn't think about rushing the process, and I didn't think about the stress or the pressure of being able to nail things down like I was on a time crunch. I really felt like I knew these characters in the script. And so from that place, I didn't ever feel like I was going to get lost with what was happening narratively in the film. And I feel like everybody kind of felt that way. Like these characters felt very real to us. It wasn't so much character work where you're in a giant prosthetic and you're a Terminator or you're an alien or something. These were very grounded people. And I just knew the context of everything that was happening in every scene. So knocking out the lines word for word was not even a problem. And if anyone didn't do that in the film, it wouldn't have been an issue, because we all knew what the subject matter was, you know. And I feel like acting and wrestling is a lot like jazz. If you work with a management team that will allow it to be, there's 5 musicians in a room, and one person starts to play a note and the next person starts to play a note, and you all kind of jive on creating this sequence of notes to create this beautiful song. And that's what it felt like being on set. And a lot of times at wrestling when we don't have as many limitations. So
That's great. And you talked about the subject matter itself, and it's some serious subject matter. It's got some lightheartedness to it too, but it does involve addiction. So when acting and producing this film, did you kind of understand the gravity of the subject matter, and how you kind of had to have a balance where it's, yeah, you want this to be entertaining, but you also want to respect the real life issues it portrays?
yeah, completely. Absolutely. I've had friends in my life who have suffered from addiction. Uh, I haven't publicly said this, but one of my best friends that I grew up with is a fellow named Oscar Moeller. He was my best friend in Toronto, passed away from substance abuse. I've never talked about this publicly. I don't want to go too deep into it, but maybe subconsciously when I read the script, that jumped off the page at me. Um, but everybody has somebody like that. Everybody knows somebody like that. They've heard stories. It's a rampant issue, and we're not necessarily trying to bring more attention to it, because everybody knows, right? What we're trying to do is highlight a story of perseverance in a very real way, and that's what our aim was. We didn't want to slam anybody over the head with something that was not going to make them feel good. And I definitely think this movie is going to make people feel good, surprisingly, while touching base on a lot of very real things that are difficult to discuss.
Indeed. Well, thank you so much for revealing that. And, God bless your friend and his memory. May he rest in peace. And I would imagine, too, while the subject matter was difficult and did hit close to home, it must have also felt kind of good to not be in that typical wrestling tough guy role either, right? It was a bit of a change for you.
Totally, man. And I bring this up as sort of like an analogy. So Metallica was always known to be this thrash metal band. They were, that's what they were known for. And then when their music began to change over time, they got ridiculed and critiqued by their hardcore audience. But like the truth of it is, and I remember hearing James Hetfield say this once, as an artist, whether you're a painter or a musician, whatever it is, you create through your own life experiences. And if you're fortunate enough, you'll experience a lot in life. Being angry and pissed off is not the only emotion you're going to live through. Sometimes you're sad, sometimes you're very happy, sometimes you go through these inquisitive periods where you go down rabbit holes on ancient history and whatever it may be. And I've had a lot to give as a performer outside of just the different iterations of Killer Kross and Karrion Kross that I'd had. And this was really cool for me to dive into that and express a story through performance for people to kind of get lost in and engage with and think about. Like a lot of what I do, I've always done this with the Kross character specifically, is outside of the business that the company is asking me to put on the table, I've always tried to create thought pieces for the audience. So that's cool. I'll do exactly what you need done in the ring and to tell your story, but I will find ways that's not going to take away from the overall direction of what creative has asked me, but I will find ways to give people things to think about, because not everyone does that. And that's also my way of kind of signing my initials on the art piece that I'm painting. And I felt very fulfilled doing this film because I was able to do that in every scene, and it wasn't a problem. All of us were. Everyone on set was able to do that. And I loved that. Like everyone was happy with what they did at the end of the day. And that felt like a home run, you know?
For sure. And that's great to hear, and definitely looking forward to checking it out. Blue Evening at the Pasadena Film Festival, and of course, coming to a film festival near you. Now, I saw some clips of the film. You did great. And of course, I've watched your promos over the years, especially the ones that you mentioned you do online, kind of supplementary to what we see on television. And just at a glance, I would have thought, okay, this is an actor who became a wrestler, but it's actually the other way around. So I'm curious for you, especially because you did get into wrestling in your late 20s. Was performing arts kind of always on your mind, or did you initially have combat sports, pro wrestling on the horizon?
I mean, I've always wanted to be a professional wrestler since I was a little kid. That was my first love. Before I even did it, it was always what I wanted to do. And then you have periods of your life where, as a human being, you feel like you need support systems of people who kind of agree with the way you're thinking. That's like a phase all of us go through, right? And some of us are fortunate enough to be able to break away from that. Suddenly, you know something so true to yourself, it doesn't matter if people agree with it or not. You're positive in yourself that you know you'd be good at something, and then you try it and you come to find, oh, I was right. And so, at one point I wanted to be a pro wrestler, and that never left. But then I thought maybe acting would be fun in high school. I was involved with docudramas and doing theater and stuff like that. But I had zero contacts for that. And that's a tricky business to be able to be seen by, on a giant platform. So, I just moved on to things that I was told were a little bit more realistic, like tangible jobs that you can get immediately. And finally, I did enough of that, and I became a professional wrestler and got hired by WWE. And wrestling is still my first love. I'm not looking to make a departure out of that or using that as like what do people say? Like a transition, like a stepping stone or something. Yeah. I'll never stop doing this. I'm hooked. But I do have this separate energy that's built up that I'd like to do something with. I also like I'm interested in painting. I write music, and it's not anything that I'd be interested to necessarily share, but like I think I'm just drawn to creating things. Does that make sense?
That definitely makes sense. Yeah.
I get something in here, and I would like to show it to people. So sometimes I do it through different ways, and a part of me has always wanted to be on set doing this. I guess that's the easiest way I can say it, for sure.
Hey, we started living your dream already, right? With Blue Evening, and that could certainly open doors for more opportunities. And I understand that as a pro wrestler, it is not the easiest life. On top of that, being a creative is not the easiest life. Sometimes it's kind of hard for people to understand you. You had mentioned support systems. You've been with your partner, your wife, Scarlett, for quite some time, obviously on screen and in real life. Just generally speaking, how important is it to have a great support system, whether it be a great partner like her or just a few people around you that believe in you on this particular journey?
It's really important. I'm going to say it like this. It's not a necessity for anyone out there listening to have a support system. It's not a necessity. It makes things easier. It makes things a lot easier because we all tend to doubt ourselves, especially when we're trying to do things that are not perceived as conventional by the things that were around. Like I grew up in working class. I wasn't around anyone in the entertainment industry at all. In fact, I lived in the farthest thing from it. So anyone listening to this who has aspirations of doing something in that realm, just know it's not a necessity. But if you can find it or you can develop it with someone, you should really cherish it, because a lot of people in life, they create relationships that are very transactional. As you get older, you'll notice that once money becomes involved, and it's very difficult to identify whether you have authentic relationships with people, especially when you've got something special. People want to be a part of that, and they want, their hand in your pocket. I learned that managing bouncing teams back in my 20s. Suddenly, everybody wanted to be my friend when I was in charge of the nightclubs. So I have different lanes from my life that I can draw from and understand that. And with my wife and her being a support for me with anything that I'm going to do, she always tells me exactly what I need to hear. Never what she thinks I would want to hear. And I have a couple people in my life like that I am very, very loyal to. And the thing about all of us is that we take commitment very, very seriously. Whether we say we're going to be somewhere on time, we got each other's back. We're going to help each other assess situations. I'm very fortunate now in my life. I've been able to build a core group of people. It's a very small core group of people that I can depend on for that. And for anyone who's curious to know about all that, that's how you cultivate it and you protect it as much as you possibly can.
Very well said. I'd love to hear that. And yeah, great to hear you have a support system around you. As you said, maybe you don't necessarily need it, but it does make life so much easier. And then in the case of making a film, you do need it.
Oh yeah. There's definitely no such thing. Unless you're Chaz Palminteri, there's no such thing as a one-man show. Sure. Chaz is the exception. But the team that I acquired to do Blue Evening, Corey DeMeyers, everybody, Siri Sanchez, Samuel Horowitz, Gustavo Ramirez, everybody on the entire film. I feel really lucky that I was able to get a crew that I did, everybody from top to bottom, A to Z, because everyone was so into what we were doing. No one needed a pep talk, like to pick it up or whatever. Like everyone was so experienced, total pros. Like I can't wait to work with everybody again, to be honest. I know that could be challenging. That could be sort of rare, but if I could keep this crew together for another project, I'm 100% going to do it. Everyone was a joy to work with.
Hopefully that happens, but so far, good reviews for Blue Evening. Obviously, you get selected to the Pasadena Film Festival. Definitely looking forward to checking it out. Kevin, we always like to ask all our guests some kind of random and rapid fire questions just to get to know them better. Are you down?
Oh no. Sure. Hold on. All right.
Favorite actor and actress?
Oh God. I'm probably going to say Willem Dafoe is my favorite actor. And in terms of actress, I have a few. Let's say Scarlett Johansson.
Hey, great choice there. Favorite filmmaker?
Martin Scorsese.
Oh, in that same vein, all-time favorite movie?
Favorite movie of all time is going to be Batman 1989. I saw it when I was little. And for me, as an adult, the movie still is like timeless. I don't care what's wrong with it. I don't care what anyone has to say about critiquing it or ridiculing it or comparing it to new ones. I love that movie. And whenever it's on, if it's on television, I'm putting that channel on. I don't care what's on. It could be the Super Bowl. I'm turning off the Super Bowl and I'm putting on Batman 89.
Heck yeah. And you talked about being versatile yourself. I mean, is there anybody more versatile than Tim Burton? I mean, look at his filmography and what he's directed and produced. Some of these things are vastly different from like Beetlejuice to like a kid's animated film.
Yes, he's incredible. Like, really, he's a really cool study piece on film. I mean, he is just so unconventional about everything, the way he did everything. And it's incredible. And now everyone knows him and knows his movies and they're classics.
Favorite late night snack or cheat meal?
Probably Rocky Road ice cream, but that almost never happens now. I'm on a very strict diet.
For people that have been following your career for a while, you used to be bald. You used to have, a little bit of like a buzz cut, some hair on the top. Now you've got some immaculate hair, my friend. I thought you were sponsored by Vidal Sassoon before we hopped on here. What is your hair care routine, and was it always the plan to grow it back after you initially left WWE?
I originally started shaving my head because I thought it suited the presentation of the character on the Independence. I had buzzed my head a couple times growing up for sports combat purposes. To have a lot of hair when you're doing jiu-jitsu and you're always sweating and you're doing boxing and stuff, it's kind of a pain in the butt, especially like constantly got to put product in it. So if you start sweating, it's all over your face. I decided to let my hair grow out after I was released from WWE because I was contacted by another writer and a producer who wanted me to do a film. And the way he wanted the character presented was he was like an ex-military guy, and he was kind of on his last leg in New Mexico. He may still produce the film, and hopefully he gives me a shout for it because I did get the role. So that's all I'll say about it. But the plan was to grow the hair out for the character, and then I got re-signed to WWE, and I just decided to keep the hair. It wasn't for a while until we realized that he had to jump to another project. There was a holdup on producing this film, which happens all the time with films. It's very common. So I kept the hair, and I would be open to shaving it for, going back to that look, but there would need to be a strong story for it. And the only other case I would ever shave it would be to donate it to a charity, which I actually was talking to. I made a donation to them, but I was going to donate my hair to some kids that were suffering from hair loss. So if I still do decide to do that, I might as well let it get as long as possible. So,
Yeah, smart man. I dig it. Either do it for charity or maybe a hair versus hair match.
oh my God, I'd really prefer not to do that. It seems like such a waste.
Oh man, what is your most awkward moment as a performer? Could be as an actor, could be as a pro wrestler.
It happens every week, actually. Um, when I meet fans, whether I'm traveling or I'm at the grocery store or at the gym or something like that, a lot of fans um, tend to tell me that they wish there was more going on with my character, and I don't know what to say because it's a great flattery, but I don't have any control over that. So I don't know what to say, and sometimes people go off on these tangents about what they don't like about what's going on. And I want to be polite because these people may never see you again, right? Like, and some of them are young, so you don't want to leave them with a bad impression, So I just kind of sit there and I let them kind of dump on me, unload. There are things that people want to see you do, and they think that you have more control over that than you actually do. They forget it's a TV show, and sometimes they think it's like for malicious reasons that you're not doing more, and it's like, oh, I have to talk this guy off a ledge. Like, there's a lot of moving parts. It's a major company, and of course you want to be doing more, but that's usually the most awkward thing that I have to deal with is if people come up and confess their enthusiasm for your character, and they want to see you do more, and it's, have you tried doing this? Have you thought about doing this? You should go to them and tell them that it's tough. Oh my God, I appreciate it, but my hands are tied in those situations. So yeah.
And tell them it's like The Sopranos. It's an ensemble cast. You're part of a massive hit. It's like the biggest boom period since the Attitude Era. But you're a part of it. It's just there's a lot of moving parts and it's beyond your control. I would have liked to have seen more Sal back in the day in The Sopranos, but hey, he did what he could.
I didn't get that analogy. I didn't say it. I don't usually tell people that as well as you did, but I'm going to steal your whole promo right there, and I'm going to say that.
All right.
Yeah, I try to defuse the situation as best I can.
I dig it. Great. And we get chatter on a high note. What's your best piece of advice for success?
Don't compromise who you are for money. If you're in pursuit of this thing, this thing that you want, that you need, this place that you want to be occupationally, because you feel like it's going to provide you with some sort of fulfillment in your life, and somebody throws you a curveball on the way there, and you feel like in order to get to where you want to be, you perhaps have to compromise who you are, don't do it. Find another way around. Do it the right way, whatever way that is, but do not lose yourself on the way to where you want to be. It may take longer to get there, and this is the part that people don't want to hear, but you might not get there because you didn't do that thing or participate in that thing that would have unraveled you, so to speak. I'm going to tell you, it's totally okay because you're going to have more than one dream in life, and I've learned that growing up, and it is such a liberating feeling to know that no matter what happens in life, you can always look in the mirror. No matter what you tell everybody you are, no matter who you tell everybody you are, you know that you're not full of shit. And that is priceless. That's what I'm going to tell you about success.
Amazing advice, wise words from a wise man. So just to sum it up too, I mean, part of it also includes integrity. And I think that's why you've been booked in so many places, whether you've been in WWE or not, because of how you treat people, right?
I would like to think so. I've never done anybody bad, ever. I don't believe in it. And I've seen two types of people in my industry on their way out. I've seen the people that did right, and they're living just fine. And I've seen the people who have done others wrong, and they're not doing so good. And despite the public perception of who the public thinks they are and what they're all about, I've seen it behind closed doors. They're not doing very good. Karma is very real, and I like to stay on the right side of it at all times.
Amen to that. One more high note for anybody that hasn't been convinced already in this interview. Why should people check out Blue Evening?
This is going to be a film that is going to feel very real. It's a film that is going to be a thought piece for you. If you're a young person and you're fortunate enough to never meet anyone who's suffering from addiction, and you have your preconceived notions about people who are struggling with addiction, this is going to kind of present a side of things to you to show you that this is something that is beyond the control of a person, and they are warranted empathy in the issues that they're having, and they're still human beings. To give you a prime example, a lot of people like to be involved with social movements, which I think is wonderful, to show support towards something that you feel needs extra support or doesn't get enough light on it. But I've known a lot of people in my life who will walk right by people who are homeless on the street, who are just looking for a little bit of change, even a penny in your pocket, if you have it. And they'll just walk right by them. And meanwhile, they're on their phones and, you know, projecting that they're a part of this movement, this thing. And there's people literally dying, like on your sidewalk in your community, in your neighborhood. And you can try to talk to those people sometimes. Hey, but you got a penny for that person? Would you mind helping that person? No, they're a drug addict. They're homeless. They got to figure it out. Sometimes it's not that simple. Everybody's got a story. And I really hope everybody gets to see our main character's story in this. And I think that a lot of people who have preconceived notions about a person with substance abuse or who is homeless may look at the world a little bit more empathetically after watching this film.
Amazing pitch. Love it. Can't wait to check it out. Blue Evening coming to a film festival near you. Kevin, thanks so much for your time. You can check him out on WWE Raw on Netflix, Friday Night SmackDown USA Network, WWE Main Event. Check your local listings. Anywhere else we can find you next, Kevin?
Monday Night Raw, baby.
There you go.
Pasadena Independent Film Festival Awards, and keep an eye out for more festivals that we are being selected for. I'm going to post them on social media. On Instagram and Twitter, I am at Real Killer Kross. And I also have killerkross.com. That has a link tree and all different stuff you could find. And all of my bios is a link tree. It'll take you to ticket sales and such. And I appreciate you all for tuning in, watching. Thank you for having me on the show, and very much looking forward to the future.